Where do you stand on deja vu?
Wow, deja vu, very interesting. Deja vu, um, it to me, how I perceive deja vu is an experience where I'm catching up with myself. You know, higher self already knows what's about to happen. Believe it or not, everybody has an entity that is the complete version of yourself that you're trying to catch up to, that is always around you, that is always protecting you and guiding you no matter where you go. It's called the oversoul. Just like we have the overmind, which is which again, like I was telling you all about how the car mimics the human being and things like that, iCloud mimics the human being too. Such as everybody has an overmind. We all are attached to an overmind. If you have a thought, right? And you really want to know the answer, that thought is being sent to the overmind in the iCloud, our cloud, right? And you could be standing on an elevator one day and two people that don't even know you, don't have any, I guess, tangible connection to you,
Are talking about it.
Are talking about it and answering your question subconsciously.
Yeah.
When I was a child, I used to have dreams a lot, and then they would happen later.
Yeah.
And that was deja vu for
Yes.
me, and it never stopped until I started drinking. Like that never, even with weed, it didn't stop. The drinking is what, like, that was when it stopped.
Yeah, wow. That's deep that you said that. But I'm going to answer your question, and again, I'm going to get into that too. About how, when you think about deja vu, it's literally like you are catching up with the higher self, like, whoa, okay, so I had already pre-planned this, and now I'm aware of it, and then you'll instantly start having more moments of deja vu. And then you eventually get to the point where there is really no deja vu because you caught up completely with your higher self. And there's no next level to that. And then you start to really start getting into the projection and astral traveling and lucid dreaming and all of that because everything now is one. There's no need for me to go to sleep at night and not feel like I'm awake. Everything is one. Everything is connected. And universe is university. You know what I mean? Like, I spend 8 hours up. I spend 8 hours at work. I spend 8 hours sleep. So I have to know what I'm doing in that world, what is going on in that world. I had a whole dream last night, and I'm going to get into this in a second too, about me killing Thanos by taking magic mushrooms, but I'll talk about it in a sec. But yeah, like it's literally you literally catching up with yourself. These are things that have already been pre-planned in your reality.
That's always been my theory behind it.
That's how I perceive it. That it like there isn't really no such thing as time. This situation that you feel like, whoa, it's happened before, it is already going on in another realm. It's constantly going on in another world. Right. Everything that you were going through is constantly going on. Just like even your past lives, those are still going on. Still going on. Yeah. Even after you passed along.
It always happened.
Always. And so you have to tap back into that frequency, if you want to be able to experience that. I feel like it doesn't matter for me to tap into a past life. Because I'm here. I'm trying to get to the next one.
Agreed.
Right. But for some people, it is essential for them to go back so they don't make the same mistakes here and then they can move forward. But for me, I feel like there's no need. Like I ain't even got a lot of time. I'm trying to wrap it on up so we can, it's like passing the baton. I ain't trying to look back like, I already know you right here, So, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So your concept of deja vu is very interesting to me, and the way that you look at it and the way that I will look at it moving forward, right?
Gotta experience it for yourself.
Right.
Like that's how I perceive it. Your perception of it might be a lot different.
I think that, like you said, the time's an elusive concept, right? Yeah. It's not real. So when I have those dreams, I'm not even. It used to shock me, like things. It don't even shock me when I'm like, why do I feel like I remember this exactly happening? Because I probably dreamed, and in that dream, this exactly did happen in that dream, and now it's just happening. So because I don't fully understand it, I don't know exactly if that was me in the future in my head, or I just misremembered it is what they would want me to believe, or something along those lines. I don't know what to think about it. I just like to see people who have an understanding of themselves and what their perception of these things are.
Yeah, I mean, dreams are just very, they're very, very interesting. And my dreams have become a lot more vivid because I've, I've changed up my diet. Two, I've gotten very serious about my spirituality. And another thing is that I have a free energy device in my home. And it was invented by Ken Rolla. And he's a really great guy, but it's called a Rest Shield. I paid about $440 for it.
Ken Rolla free energy device.
And it's called the Rest Shield. Really great device.
Do you know this person?
No, okay. I did look him up online. And I looked at a couple of his testimonials, and I'm really into Ken. What Ken has to say, more so about 5G, electromagnetic pollution, and things of that nature. And so I've had the device for about a year. And so I had already knew 5G and all this other bullshit was coming. 4G was a disaster. Wi-Fi has always been a disaster. Right. And that was another thing why I had to get out of Chicago public schools, was because, Wi-Fi causes infertility.
Extra low frequency waves, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it causes infertility, in young men and women. And they're putting it in the schools. Right. So it's literally like genocide going on in the school, because the kid is not going to really know why they can't have any children until they get older. Right. It's like wiping out a whole another generation. Now.
Oh, wait, for the skeptics.
Yes.
Because we do have to give the listeners who are skeptical, and, metaphysics is a joke to them.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Is there any evidence that why I saw an experiment on Instagram, I think one of the many, many pages I follow. And you remember how in school we used to do the little bean sprouts on the paper towel, and then you would see them grow a little bit, They did it in a room with Wi-Fi and then in a room without. And the room without grew like 3 times faster than the room with Wi-Fi. Aren't our DNA like very much like plant DNA, and don't you think it would be having the same effect on us?
Yes. As a matter of fact, Ken Rolla even talk about this. The structure of plants the life of plants is significantly improved with the Rest Shield plugged in. Dogs. I have a dog. Well, I don't have a dog. It's my sister's dog mainly, but I used to live with my sister and her dog, and so she's like 12, highly intuitive dog. Likes crystals, gemstones, all that stuff. And recognizes energy. Really, really recognizes energy. Like when she likes someone, doesn't bark. When she don't like someone or their energy is off, she barks like crazy. Right. Real chill dog, but she knows energy. Like, like I don't know.
Get this guy out of here.
It might be a snake. I don't know. Right. So very, very intuitive. The device though. Speaking of plants, this one woman had an avocado seed and she put it in like a glass of water, something like a mason jar, and she cut off all the lights because she was going out of town and she had the Rest Shield plugged up. 2 weeks later, when she returned, it was like 2-3 feet tall in her kitchen.
Oh, wow.
Darkness. No soil, no nothing. With the Rest
what
Shield.
Is this device?
It's called the Rest Shield. It's a free energy device. It blocks out
Wi-Fi. Rest, right? Rest Shield. Yeah, R-E-S-T
I mainly
Shield.
bought the device to block out Wi-Fi signals.
Right.
Because it's not like I want children. And I'll get into that in a second. But I really bought the device, one, because the Wi-Fi does interfere with those deep levels of sleep at night. Again, universe is university. If you don't know what the hell's going on that night, you're not going to know what's going on spiritually with you. That's when the spirit is working, like, on autopilot at night, So if you don't know what's going on, and then if the diet is off, if you're eating certain ways, like if you're eating after like 6-7 o'clock, it's like the organs are they're working overtime trying to digest. They don't have time, it's for the spirit to leave the body.
You can't be at rest.
Yeah, you can't be at rest. So it's like you got all this weight on you. You know what I mean? And then it also depends on what you're eating too, because meat takes about 4 to 5 hours to digest. So if you're eating that at 6 o'clock, it's gonna be kind of hard for you to.
Worse if you're eating it at 10, 11.
Right. So that was my whole thing about the rest shield, is that I wanted to start getting into the lucid dreaming and taking it to the next level with the astral travel and the connecting with the ancestors.
What is is this something you plug things into?
You just plug it up. It's a stationary device, yeah.
And then the things that are like how Wi-Fi is invisible. It is grabbing it and redirecting that energy.
Yeah, like it's like blocking that energy out. Also, it helps with the electromagnetic pollution with the radiation. You know what I mean? And another thing that it also does too is the chemtrails.
What she's talking about, because people are going to hear that and say conspiracy theory, just go ahead and Google stratospheric aerosol injections. That's not clouds. That's not natural. That's a lot of different things that's being sprayed in our air. You should first understand that, understand that, and then figure out what you can do about it.
Oh yeah, chemtrails is a real thing. You can even look at Prince's interview with Tavis Smiley, Prince the artist, when he was talking about chemtrails. Yep. And I honestly think that's the reason why he got, killed. And they're real slick about this.
The Masters too. They're real good with that. With the Masters, anytime. That's a whole different thing.
That's a whole different thing. But yeah, you can even look up that interview when he was talking about that. Yeah, he was talking about that too, about the chemtrails. And then one instance where it really connected with me with chemtrails is I used to teach at a therapeutic day school for autistic children. And so, they would tell me all type of things about this student. He can't really connect with empathy. He can't do this. He can't do it. They're telling me all the shit he can't do. Right. I'm not trying to hear none of this. You know what I mean? Like, I know that he can do whatever the fuck I tell him. Because I know spirit. Y'all don't. Y'all just, you got a fucking degree and you think you know every goddamn thing. You don't. Yeah. And so, when we started working a lot more together, he started to regress. But this one instance that really blew my mind, it made me, it rattled me a bit about chemtrails. We were playing outside because he loved to be outside. Cold, it didn't matter what temperature it was. He just loved to be outside. And so it was a plane of chemtrails that flew over the sky. And once that happened, he went batshit crazy. Batshit crazy.
So would regular planes send him off?
No.
Okay.
No. But you knew it was that. Right. And you know how chemtrails, they bring down nanochips, in the sky.
So for the people who all seems wild to you, one of the things you have to understand is just because you cannot see something doesn't mean that it's not there. And one of the things, yeah, exactly. And with a lot of the advanced technology that they have, it's not that, one, they're keeping it a secret. They're not. You can go and read up about all of it. Yes. So in order for them to make certain things work and their high-level holograms work, they have to have, basically the air would need to be harder. Like, they have to pump metal into the air in order for them to project properly and that's why they have to spray so regularly and so frequently. And that's what she's talking about. So in order for the listeners to get that concept, look up Project Bluebeam. This is declassified stuff. You could just go look it up and then come back to me. Yeah. Now you can continue.
Yes. So the whole thing with the chemtrails and whatnot, and that's why it's important too that you protect your hair. Doesn't matter if you bald or whatever, but just when you can, to wear like a protective style. If you notice a lot of folks, that are in the conscious community, a lot of those folks, they have hair wraps. Don't matter if
the
it's
Moors,
a guy.
The Hebrews.
Yeah, don't matter if it's a guy, don't matter if it's a woman. They wrap their hair up because they know that those things do kill the brain cells. And if you look at the fruit, like if you look at black spots on the fruit, the fruit's dying, that comes from chemtrails too, the little black spots.
Why? Why? Before I even go there, fluoride.
Ooh. I don't use fluoride.
In no sense you try to stay away from it because it's a neurotoxin.
There are a lot of things that can be carcinogen, but fluoride for me, it calcifies the pineal gland, and that is our access to everything. That is literally our freedom, the pineal gland. You know, what it does for us spiritually. And when you have no access to the spiritual component, then the mind is going to deteriorate and the body is going to deteriorate. So fluoride definitely cuts that off. And again, that's what rattles me too about some things that go on with CPS, because they tell the kids, they tell the parents who are low income, who don't even have access to, you know, dentistry or anything like that. Oh, we'll give you free fluoride treatments and free cleanings for your kids.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And the parents, because they don't know what the hell's going on, they're clocked out.
Of course.
You know, they're like, oh shit, yeah, you know, get your teeth cleaned, sure.
Right. They're trapped in a cycle.
Your pineal, like your kid's pineal gland is fucking, you know, you're fucking with that. Right. You know what I mean? And then as they get to first, second, third grade, you know, they're like fried. And then you have the environment around them, you know, that's numbing them already with the violence, with the disruption and the destruction. They're like over it. They look at you with the fluoride stare, like,
right,
you know, over it, you know.
The fluoride stare is wild. I just started seeing that in memes and stuff in the conscious community. Yeah, because that's the best way to describe it. The fluoride stare.
Yeah.
Like these people are hearing words that things are going on in society, but they're not comprehending any of it.
Well, yeah, they can't. Yes. Yeah, they can't. What is, you know, I wanted to ask you, what does, and I mean, you were mentioning about lucid dreams, and I really wanted to touch on that. What are you seeing? Are you seeing energy? What does energy look like? Can you touch on some of these things? Is that?
Everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. Everything's energetic. Everything has energy. This is the paper on the, you know, that has energy. That's everything. This is energy. The very fact that you're here right now is energy, because you believe in it so much energetically that you're here. If you didn't, you would be somewhere else. Right? You would be somewhere else.
That reminds me of, I think, Tesla. It's a Tesla quote. And he said, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of vibrations and energy.
Yes, and energy. And that's what I wanted to get at too. So frequencies and energy and vibrations. What are there different levels of them? You know, we were having this conversation yesterday about different levels of vibration and how there's also, you mentioned entities, right, that tap into those vibrations.
Yes.
I believe that's maybe the best way I can describe it myself, is that they tap into these vibrations, and there's low-level vibrations, there's high-level vibrations, and they know how to tap into all these vibrations and make us go a certain route based on, right, our emotions or based on how we feel. I mean, can you touch?
You know, like, if you're vibrating at a low frequency, you start to see it. You know, you'll know it, because the music that you tapping into, like the music, the area that you might be in, the conversations that are being held, the food that's being eaten, you know, the conversations surrounding children, sex, words, the all of that is a certain frequency, tone, vibration. Same thing with high vibration. Totally different component. You know, you're able to see it. You're able to witness it. You know what I mean? Like, even when you're looking at certain spirits and things of that nature, or experience certain spirits and entities, you're not, sometimes people, they want to see something happen right then and there. If you're not vibrating on that particular frequency, you're not going to see it. Like, if you notice, when I seen the movie The Avengers, because my dad was trying to explain it to me, and I'm like, I look at everything from a metaphysical perspective. I don't give a damn if I haven't seen the 3 or 4 episodes before. I look at everything from the metaphysical and spiritual standpoint. So I understand, understand everything. When you look at it, like, you have to look at it from the authoritative figure. Like, if I was to write a movie, how would I want to control people? Understanding, if I want to send a message across, how can I get people to resonate with me? And if I was a consumer, you know what I mean? How would I want to look at the film?
Understanding.
How would I want to connect with the film? Because I paid $10 goddamn dollars, and I just want to feel good. So you got to look at it from an overstanding, understanding perspective when you're looking at the movies, right? You know? So, like, when you look at, like, the Avengers Endgame, right?
Phenomenal movie.
Marvel, phenomenal.
Oh, their magic is strong.
Yeah. Phenomenal. You know?
Marvel's really good.
Yeah. You know, but again, Marvel mimics what's going on with the human being. Yeah. Everything mimics what's going on with the human being. This shit ain't that creative. It's what's going on with us now. If you look at what's going on even in the movie, right? All the warfare and everything, you never saw the human beings just sitting back and looking while they fighting.
Right.
Or the pawns on the board just looking at the king and the queens fighting. You never see that.
Right. You see the before and you see the after, but you don't actually see.
Why is that? Why is
because
that?
we're not vibrating on a particular frequency to see the spiritual war that's going on.
Keep going.
You know? You're not vibrating on a particular frequency to see what's going on. Because there's always entities that want to see you do well, that are always constantly fighting to see you do well. Ooh. If you look on YouTube, right? I saw this years ago about how they were talking about the extraterrestrials were, and I don't really get into like a lot of the extraterrestrials like I used to, you know, because now I'm into like the study of really the human being. But, you know, it was extraterrestrials going over there deactivating nuclear bombs.
That's what they said, yeah.
Right?
That's what they said.
So,
yeah.
you know, but it's not like we're looking at the shit. We're not vibrating on that level.
We didn't see none of that shit.
We don't know any. Yeah.
No
we
idea.
don't see any of that.
There's actually what she's talking about. You can check out a Netflix documentary. I do think it's about 40% state-sponsored misinformation, but there's a lot of conversation starters in there from military personnel. It's called Unacknowledged on Netflix. Yeah.
What's his name?
Stephen Greer.
Yeah, Stephen Greer.
I think he works for them. I see Endgame.
Yeah.
I saw the whole Thanos thing, and I'm a huge Marvel fan, right? I don't really like the word fan, because it's fanatic. I take in all of Marvel's content because I appreciate it. Yeah. I see it as, I think that in my crazy world, I think that they're going to fake an alien invasion using a handful of, this advanced tech that they have, both the anti-gravity machines, UFOs, whatever you want to call them. They have those. Yep. And Project Bluebeam, that's why they're spraying the stuff in the air, because we need to believe that this hologram is real. Mm-hmm. As they destroy stuff, because they are going to destroy stuff and try to wipe out a bunch of people.
Tune in to Scarecrow's Wish to get a little bit more.
Yeah, we're going to draw. I'll go in depth in Scarecrow's Wish. That's my conspiracy fact podcast. I'm gonna start doing, but I think that that's all Thanos was. This outside invader coming to wipe out half the population. Mm-hmm. Depopulation is a huge part of their agenda. Like how you were talking about sterilizing children. This is a huge part of their agenda.
Well, that's really I love that you segue towards there, because it's like they put this entity, Thanos, right? But he had to collect stones. Right? He had to collect elements in order to control the outcome, right? So when you think about kind of, the things that you're talking about, different waves, schools, what they're teaching, these are all different elements that they're utilizing.
Multifaceted attack.
Absolutely. So, I really wanted to you said something about the war, spiritual war that's going on. And I noticed something about the movie that, for example, when Spider-Man died, because he disappeared, right? Everything happened. People disappeared. Yeah, people vanished, right? And then it was all black. That's what they said. It was just dark, and there was nothing.
Right.
And something didn't sit well with me when they did that, because it's the unknown, right? So the fact that they made a statement about the unknown.
Like they were giving it a definitive about, they already know what's over there and it's nothing for you.
It's so interesting that you said, I wanted to talk about the word definitive and infinite.
Oh, please.
Definity, infinity. But I'll get into that in a second, because I know what you're going, getting at.
Finish for me, please.
Okay, Wait. Go over the last part.
Yeah. So when Thanos snaps the fingers, everyone just vanishes. They come back, and it's like, what happened? It was just, so there's this assumption that all I know is that everything went black, and then now I'm here. Right. So there's this assumption that, once you die, it just goes black.
There is no more nothing.
There is nothing. Like, that's it. It just goes black. Right?
Because you are only the flesh is what that statement says.
That was, so please, if you can What's that? I mean, and that was a small piece of the movie, but it's just something that really I want people to kind of think about that, right? Because I think it goes with what you were mentioning, where when you watch something, you see it in a whole different, different perspective, right?
And the thing is that I knew it was significant for me, for my entire family, for us to go together and look at the film, because I don't watch movies, you know, for a very reason, because movies, and we could go on for like 5 hours about this. I have to watch this particular lecture at least 20 times to actually get it. It was an hour and 30 minutes, and I had to watch it 20 goddamn times for me to be able to break it down, for it to crack through for me. About how you just shouldn't watch television. But anyway, this particular, instance in the film where he was talking about that blackness, that space. Marvel, although they mimic the human being, right, in terms of what's going on with us spiritually, even with the film Black Panther. I just saw that film this year in February. I didn't see it last year. Didn't want to.
The metaphysical community had a lot to say.
Of course they did. Of course they did. But the whole thing about us, is just going to blackness and not remembering, that is an illusion. In fact, when it's time for you to pass on, again, like what I told you about, you have your memories. And if you don't believe me, you take a psychedelic and you go on a journey and see where it takes you. Because it'll either take you where you went in the past life, or it'll take you where your ancestors went. And since you are your ancestors, it is your memory.
So you see all.
You see everything. You're a part of everything. And again, there's no time lapse. Like, that's what the psychedelic will teach you. Magic mushrooms, bufo, ibogaine, DMT, ayahuasca, all of that will show you there's no such thing as time. And
that's what my guy Zeb, in one of his follow-up interviews, he's the one who did the pieces out here. You guys would very much like each other. You should. He's definitely a person that you should meet, or you guys already met. Yeah, check out the episode I did with him. He's also a teacher, a student, all these different things. He doesn't fit into the box. But what was that last thing that you said? What made me bring up? Oh, DMT. Yeah. He said that within a 15-minute span of time, it took him 30, 40 minutes to explain to me all the things that happened within this span of time that he thought was much longer than it actually was. And then he was like, time is bullshit.
Of course.
Exactly what happened with the Avengers. He was like, well, how long is he going to be in there? As long as he needs to. How long is it going to take for us? Just 5 minutes.
Right.
And he came out old as hell. You saw Captain America at the end.
Yeah, at the chair.
He came out.
He lived his whole life. Yeah, he lived the whole life.
It's going to take us 5 minutes, and for him, he spent as long as he needs. It was a whole lifetime. Because you tap into the quantum field. This is why it's so important that human beings, you cannot get into the left, right brain. Good, bad. God, evil. Good, devil, or evil. You know what I mean? Like
everything is gray.
Yeah, the whole left, right brain, because that's the computer. Like when a computer has a program, it's going to run the way that the architect designed it to do. But when a human being has a program, it's going to run the way whatever the architect wants it to do. But when the human being deprograms itself, it becomes everything.